Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sustainability Matters. Some background first. We've come a long way on the topic of corporate sustainability over the last 50 years when Milton Friedman, one of the world's most influential economists, wrote his famous piece in the New York Times. The social responsibility of business is to increase its profits. In fact, if you pick up a copy of the New York Times now, you'll see the world's largest investors telling companies they must contribute to society if they want to stay relevant. And while the world has undergone a major paradigm shift when it comes to the topic of sustainability, business leaders are still confused about how to integrate these practices in their day to day operations. Let's look at this problem a bit further. Sustainability management has evolved into a vast field which aims to manage short term and long term trade offs of environmental, economic, and social issues, also known as environmental social governance or ESG issues in the financial world. It's no longer about why and whether to pay attention to sustainability, but instead, how can business leaders address sustainability issues that are material in a constantly changing world? This is the problem our team wishes to address in the Quantum Valley Investments problem pitch. With so many sustainability frameworks now being introduced, and no one single body which is recognized globally as the decision making authority, corporations and investors are perturbed as to which standards will help them address the world's most pressing challenges. It's no wonder that sustainability has truly become the elephant in the room. Now let's take a look at the scale of the problem. McKinsey estimates that up to 70% of business revenues could be impacted due to sustainability risks. Taking the 300 trillion global capital markets as a whole, this means that up to $270 trillion are at risk. Over the 7-year period alone between 2011 to 2018, there was a 400% growth in sustainability reporting in the world's largest corporation. This proves that companies have now accepted their stewardship role in society. 80,000 sustainability reports were issued last year, and over 80% of investors now integrate environmental social governance or ESG factors into the investment process. And when thinking about future trends, in a survey by Deloitte asking millennials what businesses should try to achieve, improve society was chosen by 63% more respondents than generate profit. This comes at a time that the world is currently undergoing the largest transfer of wealth in history, $24 trillion from baby boomers to millennials. So let's take a brief look at the history behind the sustainability paradigm shift. In 1960, Ronald Coase wrote the famous paper, The Problem of Social Cost, which went on to become the most frequently cited paper in all of legal scholarship. Now, free market economists started pushing back, and they tried their best to say that businesses don't hold any form of sustainability or responsibility to the community, but a more center approach prevailed. And by the end of the 1980s, the word sustainable development was coined, also taking the fold of the private sector into account. Between the late 90s and all the way up to recent times, a host of frameworks were introduced to try to help businesses account for their sustainable development factors. But the problem still remains. No one unified standard was ever agreed upon in order to make this whole process easier. This is the major problem we're still facing. Moving on to the next. Where did the failure analysis really happen? What is the root of the problem? We already mentioned that the tussle between social capital and pure capitalism has still not been resolved. Major accounting bodies have not taken a stance on standardizing sustainability and ESG, and this just might be the single biggest problem facing this issue right now. Capacity and competency on sustainability matters is still lacking within institutions, whether it's government or private sector. And there are still major disconnects between the world of government, business, civil society, and academia. Each one has a different opinion and a different stance on the issue of corporate sustainability. Finally, materiality has never been so important. Materiality is a constantly changing, moving target. And we can see this with the advent of COVID-19 and the recent race riots that have occurred as well. We really don't know anymore what is most important when it comes to materiality. Sustainability has become the elephant in the room, and we want to help to try and remove the blinders on this issue. How can business leaders identify and address sustainability issues that are material in a constantly changing world? Thank you so much.